Hello everyone and welcome to Season of War. Tonight we are back with another short FJ Sigmar video. My name is Fabian and today we're going to talk about the new STORMCAST Eternals Battletome. Without further ado, let's get started. Same as previously with Skaven, there aren't too many changes for the STORMCAST Battletome compared to the Index. Battle traits, enhancements, laws, all of that is unchanged. There are a few updates on 2 of the battle formations as well as a couple units, but most of the new changes come from the new units, the new faction terrain, and the Armies of Renown and Regiment of Renown. So first we'll go over the changes on the battle formations. The first one is a change on the Thunderhead host. And what they did is that now you get the bonus to hit for warrior chambers if you are in range of a non-hero, non-beast. Because before you will get the bonus trigger from, for instance, the Etherwings or the Hounds, and they didn't want that. And then there is a change on the Vanguard wing, and they changed slightly the wording, especially considering that there was a change not that long ago with the battle scroll. You cannot have used the move ability on top of not being in combat, so you can't retreat and teleport anymore. So just 2 minor changes for the sub-faction, just fine-tuning and getting like what they want them to be. Overall, it shouldn't change too much the internal balance of the battle formations. Then there are 2 very small changes on 2 of the units in the Battletome. First on the Etherwings, and their move was increased to 14 inches, which is nice. And then there is a change on the Vanguard Raptors with Hurricane Crossbows. Their passive ability has changed to now it's gonna add +1 to wound for Vanguard units in combat for the rest of the turn. And now on to the biggest part of this review, all the new units, starting with Iridan the Witness. He has a solid chassis with 12 health, 12-inch move and a 3-up save, and he's a priest. He's pretty decent in melee with rank 2 for both his profiles. But the reason why you will pick him is for his abilities. He has the Ruination Chamber ability like every other unit from the same chamber. But on top of that, he has 2 other abilities, one of them being his own prayer. He gives an aura, and every time a friendly Ruination Chamber unit fights wholly within 18, after they fight, they will get a 6-up ward for the rest of the turn, and they will also heal either D3 or 3 if the chanting was a crit. And his other ability is basically a 3 power through. It allows him, if he can beat the health characteristic of a model that's in combat with him, to slay the model and use a free retreat without taking the mortals. So overall, pretty good stats, an interesting prayer and a good movement ability. If he's priced correctly, I'm sure we'll see him in lists. The other unique character is Tornus the Redeemed, and he comes with also 12-inch move, 8 health and a 3-up save. He's a decent fighter for like a foot character, but nothing to write home about. Again, if you bring him, that's for his abilities, and he comes with the Ruination Chamber one, as well as 2 extra. One of them being an improved rally wholly within 12, but unlike most of the ones we've seen previously, it doesn't add 3 dice, it adds directly 3 rally points. So like 3 successful 4-ups. And then he has a support ability that goes off on the 3-up in any combat phase, and you have to pick from 2 effects. First one being a -1 hit for every enemy unit in combat with him, or you can heal D3 to every Stormcast unit in combat with him. It's worth noting that it does not have to be in combat for that, so that can be a nice D3 heal that you can have in every turn. And next we have the Lord Vigilant on Morgreef, which is the non-named version of Iridan. He has the exact same chassis with 12-inch move, 12 health and a 3-up save. Similar melee profile, a bit better on the charge thanks to charge +1 damage, but a bit worse otherwise. And also it has the Ruination Chamber ability on top of 2. One of them improved the control score of Ruination Chamber units, and the other one is his Rampage in the charge phase that can allow you to put strike last and no commands on a non-monster hero if you can beat their health characteristic with 2d6. Next we have the Knight Azyros. Very similar to Tornus the Redeemed, because here we have 2 abilities in common, the Ruination Chamber one, as well as the one in any combat phase, where you can either heal or apply -1 a hit. But instead of the rally improvement ability, there is an end of turn ability that you can use in both turns. And on a free up, it allows a prosecutor unit holding in 12 to either do a retreat move if it's in combat, or do a normal move otherwise. So very powerful ability that will help with the positioning of these very fragile units. Now onto the units, and we have the new Paladors, the Stormstrike Paladors. They are slightly slower than the Vanguard Paladors with only 12-inch move, otherwise they have the same health with 5 and 3 up save. They are pretty good on a charge with charge plus 1 damage and a good profile, and they are warrior chambers. And on top of that, the ability is that if any other warrior chamber was destroyed this battle, for the rest of the battle, they're gonna have strike first on the charge and they can reroll their charge. So just keep them in the back, lose 1 unit of Annihilators or Liberators, and after that they are unleashed, they will be able to reroll their charge and strike first on the charge, which is obviously very powerful. Then we have the Storm Coven, which is the return of an Underworld Warband. There are a unit of Wizard. They become power level 2 if they are contesting an objective. They have decent combat profiles and shooting profiles. And they have a War Scroll spell that gives either a unit within 12 strike first if it's friendly or strike last if it's enemy. So pretty good. I'm sure we're gonna see a lot of them, especially considering they are wizard, potentially level 2, that does not use a hero slot. And last but not least, we have the new faction terrain. It's very simple. It's pretty tanky with 12 health on a 4-up save, and in your movement phase, it allows to teleport a friendly unit wholly within 6 that is not in combat anywhere on the battlefield outside of 9. So amazing ability, it's basically a free translocation, a very good late game for tactics, repositioning, stealing objectives, and it's free, so just a straight upgrade for STORMCAST, who I'm sure will be very happy. Okay, now we're done with the changes to the Battletome itself and the main faction, and we can jump into the Armies of Renown, with the first one being the Ration Brotherhood. For this one, you have to bring Iridan and he has to be a general. And then you can bring any Runation units, all non-hero warrior chambers, and night questers. You have 4 battle traits, one of them giving a 5-up ward to one of your Runation chamber units for the turn, a passive giving a 6-up ward for warrior chambers when they are in range of Runation chamber units. There is also a rampage that you can use with a monster that does a bit of splash mortals to 3 different units. But the main battle trait for this Army of Renown is Temper the Floor. You must use this battle trait if any non-hero Runation unit fought this turn. And then you have 2 options. If it's wholly within 12-inch of a hero, you can return 1 slay model to it. And if it's not, you will add 1 to the attack characteristic for the next turn, but you won't be able to control objectives and you won't be able to use commands. So a very powerful and defining ability, and also needs to be used correctly to make sure that you get the effect that you want. So positioning with your heroes will be very important. Then the Heroic trait allows the carrier to use the Runation ability even if it was used by someone else. And there is an artifact to give a ward, 5-up if it's infantry, 6-up otherwise. And for this army there is only a prayer law that comes with 3 prayers. For the first one, you pick an enemy unit within 18 inches and you roll 1d6. If you beat their health characteristic, one model is slain. And if it was a 10-up for the chanting, you roll 2d6. So it's going to be a very good spell to snipe foot heroes if you can get it on a 10+. Then the second one has a range of 12 inches and it's a horde clearer. On a 5-up, you get mortal per model, or 4-up if it was a crit. And finally, the last one buffs a unit wholly within 12 and gives them +2 move. And if the prayer was a crit, it will give them also run and charge. So overall, 3 good prayers that will be useful in different situations, and a pretty flavorful Army of Renown overall. The second Army of Renown is the Heroes of the First Forged, and for this one you need to have Bastian Cartharos as your general, and you can bring all the badass named heroes with Krondis, Karazai, the Celestine Prime, and Indrasta, as well as any other warrior chamber heroes. For troops, only Praetors and both variants of Annihilators. For the battle traits, you bring back the ability to put units in reserve and deep strike them with Scions of the Storm, as well as a charge ability that you can use once per turn to allow one of your infantry units to charge through models. And finally, there's an ability that you can use once per turn in your movement phase if Bastion was not deployed this turn, and it allows you to bring 1 unit from reserve wholly within 6 of Bastion and outside of 3 of enemy units. So potentially a deep strike outside of 3, which is very powerful. You can imagine just bring the reinforcement next to Bastion and be ready to fight. For the hero trait, it's a passive for +1 attack as long as the hero is wholly within 6 of Bastion. And the artifact allows to pick an enemy unit in combat, and on a 4-up, it cannot use wards for the rest of the battle, and you can use that in any combat phase. Then, for the manifestation lore, it's just the Everblaze Comet from the Stormcast Battletome, and then we have 2 spells and 1 prayer for this Army of Renown. The animated spell is a wholly within 12, pick a Stormcast unit. For every roll of 6 for saves, it's gonna bounce back 1 mortal. The other spell is just a small AoE around the caster, pick 3 units within 9 and they will take D3 mortals. And finally for the prayer, pick 1 unit wholly within 12 and give it +2 move, and if it was a crit, you can pick a second unit in addition. So another interesting Army of Renown, this one being very hero hammer. If you want to play Bastion and some other badass unique characters, and if you like the idea of being able to deep strike a unit pretty much directly in combat, don't hesitate, this one is for you. And then we have 2 regiments of Renown. The first one being a Vanguard oriented one, with a Lord Aquiller, a unit of Vanguard Paladors, and a unit of Vanguard Hunters. So some very mobile units, they all have access to run and shoot and charge. And on top of that, the Regiment of Renown ability allows all the units to teleport instead of just the Lord Aquiller when you use its ability in the movement phase, as long as the units are not in combat. So a very mobile Regiment of Renown that's gonna be probably very appreciated for slow armies like Fire Slayers, as it's gonna bring them the speed and mobility they will need for tactics. And last but not least, we have dragons. Valnir Stormwing is very simple in what it does. It brings you a Night Draconis and a single Stormdrake Guard. So you can build that Regiment of Renown with just like the standard box with the 2 dragons. You have a once per battle ability to give them for your turn +1 to save, +1 to wound. So basically bringing Finest Tower with the regiment. Yeah, pretty straightforward. It's 2 dragons. If you like dragons, you can play dragons now in every other army. And with that, that's all for our review of the new Stormcast Battletome. Again, same as Skaven, not too much is new, although the addition of the new faction terrain is going to add even more mobility option for Stormcast, which is nice. But anyway, thanks for watching. Please let us know in the comments what you thought, which units or Army of Renown you're excited to try, and we'll see you in the next video.